Ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting France with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.
Shepherd, wow. 54 of the last two, more runs in the last two than the 7 overs before that. CSK thought they would have pulled things back, and then Romario just went mad at the Chinnaswamy. We saw a shade of this in a previous game at the Wankhede. He's gone past that as well. We'll break down all the stats as Shepherd powers RCB to a score well in excess of 200 at half-time in this Southern Derby. This is Nexa Presents ESPN Riggin for Timeout. Piyush Chawla with Matt Roller, Danny Morrison. We all thought we were in business with our first innings score, and then Shepherd made a mess of everything. Go on then, Danny, describe that onslaught.
Shepherds, man, that's just extraordinary, isn't it? You think you've got it under control, you've brought the game back here, and then two guys, well, particularly one guy, poof, moosing it to all parts, and those ones that just tail in a bit, sometimes they just tail in a bit onto the middle of the blade, and again, flight 715 to Dubai is leaving. Hosties, I'm coming.
56, the partnership of 15. Tim David has done his job as well. 2 not out of 3. But both former MI boys, and you have seen firsthand, haven't you, PC, the power of Shepherd?
And see, with him, the thing is, he's somebody who's very powerful, and we can see that in his, shot making as well. It's not that he has to hit everything from the middle of the bat. So the margin of error becomes very less against him because you just off radar a bit as a bowler. He's there to, pound you over any part of the ground, and that's what he has done. Khalil tried everything possible. He bowled a short ball, he bowled a slower short ball outside off stump, which he played over covers, which is one of the most difficult shot. And if a batsman is doing something like this, so it's very difficult for a bowler to bowl, to be very honest.
Okay, break down the records, if any.
I think equal second fastest 50 in the IPL, joint with KL Rahul and Pat Cummins, the only one quicker, Yashasvi Jaiswal with 13 balls. But yeah, pretty extraordinary hitting. I think we were saying he scored a 32 run over against Emric Nortje last year and then 33 tonight off Khalil. So shows you the power that PC is talking about there.
Oh, has that last over or those 2 overs at the end changed the complexion of this game? Before that, did you think it was in the balance or CSK might have actually been the happier side? But what now? 2-1-3?
Well, after 11 overs, Mark, they were 114. But from there, they pulled it back really well. And at one point of time, it looked like that I'll be in the business with my prediction.
Which was how much again?
I said 190.
Okay.
In fact, you were also in the business.
I was in business for anything, 169, 179.
But those 2 overs actually changed the game. And especially, we talk so much about the momentum. When 2 overs, 54 runs, when you go back into the dressing room, you carry a lot of momentum and confidence with you. Because at one point of time, they must be expecting somewhere around, say, 185, 190. But they ended up getting 213. So those 20, 25 runs extra is a lot.
He's barely had a hit in the season, Shepherd. What do you sense that kind of finish does to a dressing room?
Yeah, most definitely. As PC said, you now go in there with the vibe that, yep, suddenly we've changed the course of this contest, and I just think CSK will be a little bit wilted with that, just going, not again? Again?
Yeah, we know it's been, 4 or 5 years since CSK chased 180 plus. So to get 214 against what's been a pretty successful RCB attack feels pretty stiff, I think.
He's actually not had a hit all season, Shepherd. Bowled 2 overs against Punjab, 1 over against RR, didn't do anything in the last game against Delhi. So that's the first time he's had a hit. Seems to be in decent touch. What could CSK have done, if anything, at the death over there, especially the Khalil over, and he'd already gone for a few on that day?
Well, we were discussing off air, which you mentioned, because we have seen when Noor was bowling, the ball was gripping a bit and there was some bounce. They could have gone with Jadeja because he had
Jadeja
1
19th over.
And that too with 2 overseas batter who just came in and who preferably don't want to face spin that much. So that could have been a difference. But now this is what it is.
It's conventional Dhoni captaincy though, right? You got 2 overs to close. It's very there, and I'm sure if an analyst told him, good matchup if you can throw in a spinner even in the 19th against the 2 overseas, he wouldn't have listened. But there was a genuine case today to have a spinner bowl the 19th.
Yeah, I think so. I think particularly when you consider you had Jadeja, who is a potential defensive option. He was none for 26 from his 3, so it had gone pretty well. And yeah, I think there was clearly a bit of grip for him early on as well. That first over he bowled to Kohli, I thought, kept him very quiet right at the start. I mean, Kohli obviously had had his say in the second. But yeah, I think there was a case for it. Khalil had a bit of an off night. He's had a good season, but generally bowling 3 up top and not coming into action too much at the death. And I think we probably saw why that is tonight.
And CSK seen that really closely in the last game, what a spinner can do in the 19th over.
Yeah.
So they could have used that ploy as well.
Very true. Saw Chahal in the last game end the CSK innings prematurely. They did get off to a great start as well, though. It's fair to say. So in the end, they would think that, yeah, we should have gotten 200 with the way Kohli and Jacob Bethell started. What did you make of the first?
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen a bit of Bethell. You've seen a lot more of him heavy, haven't you? So when I look at that and the way he can play, clearly a good talent. And the guy at the other end, he's got a bit of experience, hasn't he? He's not bad. He's not bad, Mr. Kohli. So again, he was going quite sweetly. Turned both. I mean, both openers get half centuries and it sets it up.
Yeah, he was outstriking Bethell at one point, Kohli.
And the way he was batting, we have seen those slog sweeps as well, which generally when he's batting really well, he doesn't use that. That's the last option. But today he was on song. The way, right from the first ball, he was stepping down to the fast bowlers. He was pulling everything. So I think he came with the purpose that I have to maximize the first 6 overs. And as I was mentioning in the pre-show that the wicket was sticky, but I feel the CSK bowlers didn't bowl that well.
We'll come to that in a second. But Bethell, must have read your story.
Yeah, well, he's been extremely impressive. People have given him big raps for a long time. And I think hopefully IPL fans who have maybe not seen him play too much international cricket are starting to understand why. Because, you know, obviously Vaibhav Suryavanshi has kind of thrown age off, but only 21, only 50% older than Suryavanshi is. He's come in at the deep end of IPL and looks $1 million really. I mean, there were 2 glimpses of it against DC with those 2 boundaries off start, but tonight really, really strong square of the wicket in particular, those cut shots, and yeah, I think RCB felt after the auction that they got him for a bargain price at 2.6 crore, and I think they're going to be wanting to retain him for potentially quite a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sign of a good team when all your reserve players are suddenly showing up and impacting games. Bethell and Shepherd both today.
And that's a really good sign for a team in form, because they must be itching on the bench to go out in the park and perform, and the team is doing really well. And when Bethell got a chance, unfortunately Salt was missing out, and he made a full use of it. And the way he batted, he looked just brilliant, because the way he was striking the ball, and the best thing about his batting was he was not trying to overhit the ball, he was just timing it, and that really helped the cause for him, I feel.
Pressure on Ngidi now. He's the only one left as a reserve player. Make an impact today. Did that surface look a little bit challenging in the middle, the way Dhoni was collecting them?
It was, wasn't it? But you just said all the rain around and the humidity and then a bit sticky in that. So yeah, this will be an interesting chase.
Yeah. Could CSK have done anything more?
Well,
In the power play, perhaps?
I thought they were poor with the new ball, weren't they?
Yeah, Khalil, who's one of their better bowlers, didn't seem to have a good day.
Yeah.
it was just one of those days because, things were not going his way, but they could have actually bowled a little bit because they gave too many boundary balls, I feel. If a batsman is hitting you, that's fair enough, like of good balls, but here they provide too many boundary balls, and that didn't help CSK.
Is there a history with Khalil and Kohli?
I don't know.
No, not that you know of. I believe our friends at Star were telling us that there was some interaction in the reverse fixture when Khalil bowled a bouncer to Kohli. Got replied today, but then when he took the catch also, Khalil, to dismiss Virat Kohli, it was...
He looked pumped up, didn't he?
Yeah, well, always give it a little bit of time. The game levels you out pretty quickly as he came back. Pathirana, who was not in form, actually did well today.
Yeah, and it's a shame with death and that can happen. But again, just shows you a bit of confidence, conditions that suit you, and you just get into a good bit of rhythm. Look, I think he's an exciting prospect, really.
Yeah. I mean, he for a change bowled before the first 10, and I say that he bowled the 10th. But I wonder if that's one thing that you can credit CSK. They could have easily dropped him for Ellis, but they backed Pathirana, and today it worked.
Well, that's how CSK works. If somebody has performed well for them, so they give those enough chances to him because they know what he's capable of and what he can bring to the table, and that's what he has done today. At one point of time, as we were discussing, they looked like going for somewhere around 230, 220, Eventually, they ended up getting 213, but Pathirana was the one who really pulled things back for them. And from there, last 2 overs can go either ways.
Yeah, has it ever happened to you, Danny, that you're not in form, you're not getting your line right, you run to try and take a catch and you get hit on the head, bumped into one of your colleagues, and suddenly everything seems clearer and your line is perfect?
Yeah, we've seen a bit of that this season, haven't we? We've seen a few clashes, unfortunately. Like guys say calling and that's the problem. You just don't, right? And you can't hear a call, and so then you're going for it. Unfortunately, Jadeja, who's got quite a good pair of hands, got in the way. And
wouldn't you normally think that if you're in CSK or in the Indian team, the one thing you want to see is where's Jadeja?
yeah,
Right? And then if you're anywhere near that, in your head or heart, you know that, okay, if it's reasonably in that area, it's not my catch.
over to you.
Correct.
No.
But Pathirana was just looking at the ball. But generally, when you run in front, okay, you're looking at the ball, but still you get the back of your mind that somebody is coming, and you feel that vision. But I don't know what he was trying to do. But as you mentioned, that bump really helped him, I guess.
Yeah, very good. You shouldn't get another one though, he'll forget again. Anything that we can pick out from the lack of punch in the middle overs?
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting little phase, wasn't it? I think they at one point were 29 for 3 in 30 balls in that period when Noor and Pathirana were bowling. So that does suggest that maybe it's not quite the absolute road that you sometimes get at the Chinnaswamy, and I think across the season that's probably been the case. It's not been quite as high scoring as we're used to. I suppose the question will be, does the dew play any role in the run chase, and if not, can Suyash and Krunal Pandya perform as they have through the season, which is very well.
Yeah, I mean, Patidar was, I did see on the pre-show, practicing to the left-arm wrist spinners in the net side of this game. It's not always the same thing when you play in this match situation.
Well, it's a different when you're facing him, somebody in the nets, and when you go in the match and face him actual. But as Matt mentioned, the wicket was bit on the stickier side, and that will definitely help the cause for RCB spinners, because Krunal is bowling really well. Suyash Sharma didn't get that many wickets, but sometimes your bowling analysis doesn't define how you have bowled, and he has bowled really well this season compared to whatever cricket he has played in last couple of years.
Right, let's get into the chase now. And now CSK have to quickly rewire. They thought they'll be chasing 180, 185 at one stage, or maybe 179 or 169 at one stage. But here they are once again with 214 to get. What should they do smarter this time in the chase? Is it Dubey being promoted, take down spin? What would you like to see, PC?
Well, first of all, it's very important to maximize the power play with these two batters, and it's important to play those cricketing shots and time the ball, not to try overhit, and then Dubey coming up at usual number 4 where he can dominate the spinners, because you have one leg spinner and then other is left arm spinner. Matchup we talk about.
Oh, he's got in the matchup. All right. No Hazelwood today as well, Danny.
No.
So is there a chance here for CSK to try and replicate what the RCB did in the first 6?
And these two young chaps on screen now, I'd like to see them get cracking. Really would. Whether they get it or not and play spoilers, I want to see these two go well.
Brevis, perhaps, a point of difference today. They need someone to get them a Shepherd-esque innings or a combination of a... Like Sam Curran got some runs today. They just need one more to fire. It seems like they only have one gun firing every game.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what the plans are to cover that Hazelwood gap, because, Ngidi you'd think is generally a more middle overs, death overs guy, and it looks like Krunal is going to take the new ball. So interesting to see how they structure things up, whether they potentially go Bhuvneshwar opening with him, and then Dayal plays that Hazelwood role at the end of the power play. But yeah, potentially an opportunity for CSK to go really hard here and try and get ahead of the game, because they're, it's going to be really tough if they're needing 15s at the end.
You like Krunal first over ahead of Bhuvi?
Well, I don't mind, because we have seen the wicket, it's gripping a bit, there is some bounce, and if you get a wicket up front, so nothing like it. So it's not a bad move.
Okay, prediction time, 214. Forecaster, I think, has had to quickly readjust as well after Shepherd storm at the Chinnaswamy, and it is now, as we speak, saying that the odds are in favour of RCB 71.6%, CSK 28. Danny Morrison, prediction?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a bridge too far for those in yellow, because what did you say, that the last 5 years not been good at chasing anything over 180.
Correct. Right.
So yeah, I'm sorry.
RCB to win easy?
Yeah, I think so.
PC?
Yeah, I feel the same.
I think CSK will take us deep into the night, but I think it'll be 200, so lose by 14.
lose by 14. History
13,
then.
13 I should say.
History would have been taken place in that case with RCB doing the double over
Yes.
CSK. Why don't I continue with my horrible streak and say CSK to chase this? Like I said, SRH to chase it and whatever else, all the other rubbish I've said this whole week.
Oh.
And let's see where this game stands. At some point, more than one gun will fire for the Super Kings. Maybe it's tonight. Danny Morrison, Piyush Chawla, Matt Roller. Pick up the chat at the end of it all on Nexa Presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout.
Ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting